Hello and welcome to The Haunting, a show about the paranormal that will make your skin crawl, with ghostly facts and stories, as we investigate some of the most haunted hotels in Britain. To start off the series with a spooky reservation, we are going to investigate the legendary Mermaid Inn. Let's have a look at what we'll be featuring tonight. Coming up on the show, our team of investigators have a look around the Mermaid Inn. We have the public tell us their own spooky stories, and I talk to this historian about the background and the ghosts our team may have encountered on their trip. Now, we all have at least one unexplainable experience with the paranormal in our lifetime, whether we believe in the afterlife or not. There are several types of paranormal activity, and one that has been known to occur in the Mermaid Inn is that of objects moving by themselves. Particularly in one of the bedrooms upstairs, there is a rocking chair, and guests are known to wake up in the middle of the night to hear and see the chair rocking on its own accord. Perhaps our investigators will see something similar to this spooky occurrence. But for now, let's hear from the public about their unusual ghost encounters in the Ghost Box. Some truly spooky stories told by members of the public there. Now moving on to the part of the show that will send shivers down your spine. We have had a group of investigators head down to Rye in Sussex to investigate the notorious Mermaid Inn to see if it's as haunted as people say. Before our team set up their experiments, they also spoke to the location's owner to learn more about the unexplainable happenings others have experienced. So let's meet our brave investigation team. So, there are our investigation team who had a very enlightening interview with the owner, but we'll have to wait a little bit longer before we see what happened after the lights went out. For now, I'm joined live in the studio by Clifford Hume, a historian that will be hopefully able to talk us through the location's history and what we hope to see with our investigation team. Hi Clifford, thanks for joining us.
A pleasure to be here. Now, the Mermaid Inn was established in the 12th century.
Long time ago then?
Very long history, and a notorious history thanks to the tunnels underneath.
Okay.
This is where the smugglers plied their trade. It also had the infamous notoriety of being the home to the Hawkhurst gang.
The Hawkhurst gang, that sounds quite scary. How many people would have been in a gang like that?
A gang like that would have consisted of anything from 400 to 600
wow,
people.
That many?
That many. It was from the fishermen all the way through to the local constabulary as well. They used the extensive tunnels to smuggle their contraband and to distribute it to the southern England area. Tea, brandy, anything like that had a tax imposed on it. Now, one of the leaders at the time was a chap called Thomas Kingsmill, and he was executed in 1740s, and his ghost is said to inhabit the inn even to this day.
Wow, that's quite scary when you think about it. And there's definitely potential for some interesting paranormal encounters for our investigation team. Before we see what our team experienced, I'd just like to mention that Sharona, our medium, didn't know where she was going or have any idea of the history of the location before she got there. So there was no way for her to do any research prior to the investigation. Let's see how they got on. Well, after our first vigil with the lights on, our medium Sharona has picked up on a few details about the Mermaid Inn. What can you tell us, Clifford, about what she's discovered so far?
Well, she mentioned room 16, and she mentions the name Thomas. Well, we can find two Thomases that were involved actually in the Hawkhurst gang. Okay. First one was Thomas Kingsmill, we mentioned earlier. Yep. The second one was actually Thomas Moore. And they were both leaders of the gang in their time, so that could tie into that.
Okay.
The sword play that she mentioned, that also does come into the smuggling aspect of it. And we know of one famous fight that took place in that room, and the loser was actually thrown down the cavity.
A sticky end then.
Totally.
And they mention about room 15 and the cellar. Tell us more about that.
Now, room 15, Shona mentions the
Some fantastic results there from our brave team, and what an investigation it has been. Clifford, any last thoughts?
Well, the Mermaid is bathed in history, so I'm not really surprised they've got the results they have.
And I think it'd be remiss of me not to ask you a question, because we started the show saying that everyone has had a paranormal experience. Care to share one of your own?
Well, I was investigating an East End pub a few years ago where a notorious murder happened. And we were there after hours, just waiting, and nobody was by it. But one of the pictures of the actual victim fell off the wall and smashed on the floor. So that was slightly unexplained.
Of the victim itself?
Of the victim itself.
Well, thank you for that story, Clifford. And thanks for you for joining us on The Haunting. Come join us next time for more paranormal exploration. But don't lose too much sleep. Goodbye.